Welcome to Bro Joe Builds, and in this video, I do some bench racing with my father as we go up to pick up my broken Suburban that broke in the last video while bringing the spare parts over to the racetrack. More on that in the last video. I'll leave a link upstairs to see that. You can see some passes from yesterday. So I'm hoping to upload this on Father's Day, and I'm recording this on Father's Day. I want to give a thanks and to my father because there won't be no Bro Joe builds at all. It wasn't for him. Not only for the obvious, him, doing what he had to do to make me, but also for being probably the best father a son could ask for. You know, everything I know, the basis of everything I know came from pretty much him. The work ethic, I watched him, and I'm showing here some pictures of his race car, one of the race cars that he had growing up, but when I was a kid growing up, and this one he had from when I was about 5 years old into my late teen years. And the car before that was a 68 Camaro. So there's a picture of the 69 Camaro. And the whole name, Bro Joe Builds. And if you know me, my nickname is actually Joey. My father's name is actually Joe. And the name I came up with is kind of paying homage to my father because I seen him, build with whatever he could, you know. Like again, we weren't poor, right, or per se broke, but it was just we did the best what we could, and he did the best what he could. And I could talk a little bit more about that Camaro, but I want to talk more about him as my father before we go into some bench racing. I remember as a kid, he would literally give me all his time to answer all my million questions. The original love for cars came from him. I remember he had a 68 Camaro that was a 11-second street car. This is back when I was a little kid, you know, talking about 91, 92. This is the earliest memories I have of it. And I remember sitting in the front seat and him cracking the throttle and me getting buried in the seat, and you almost close your eyes from the acceleration, and I remember feeling that feeling, and from that day I was hooked. Probably 4 or 5 years old, and from that day I had a desire and a hunger to work and learn everything I could. And I have a stack of magazines and books. I have about, without exaggeration, 400 pounds worth of books, mostly books that I've gathered from when I was a kid till teenage years. Most, like 90% of those books are from that era. And it's because I did, I wanted to learn everything I could. And my father was there every step of the way. And he would come home from work, and from the moment he opened the door, I was pretty much there ready to greet him, when I was done with my schoolwork or whatnot. And I was asking him questions from the time he got home to the time he, eating dinner to the time I went to bed. Nearly every day I was uh, grilling my dad for, hours, asking him about cars, from start off from basics to more complex things, and and then as we were heading up to the racetrack, we did some bench racing, and I got to thinking of those days of when I was just a little kid, and we'll spend hours talking about cars and modifying cars and future plans and what we could do here or what we could do there. And as I grew in knowledge, we, were able to bounce things back and forth more and more. And yeah, I would never even be anywhere near uh the type of wrench I am now if it wasn't for my father. I have no formal schooling in mechanics per se. All my schooling were, learned by working with him and my father's best friend, who I call my Uncle Jay. I would spend, on my weekends, we will work on the race car, work on various hot rods, and you know, my father's the one that taught me how to weld. He taught me how to. He just get small engines, and I'll be able to, if I could take apart and learn how to put them back together and figure things out. You know, um, I have a lot to thank my father for. So on this Father's Day, I would like to say I thank you and I love you. Um, you know, I appreciate everything. I really do. And your grandkids appreciate you. I appreciate you. And you are an amazing man. And everybody who meets you, they all say the same thing. Um, I'm proud to be your son, and I'm proud to call you my father. So to the original Broke Joe, uh, I love you, and I wish you um, many more years of hot rodding with me, and and days at the track where we have more success than we did this past holiday weekend. So with that being said, let's get to today's shenanigans. I'm gonna travel 2.5 hours just to pick up a pile of garbage. So, welcome to Brojo Bills. This is my father. Today's Father's Day. We're right now we're riding in the. But if you looked at one of my older videos, I think I work on this truck. And I called it a 30C30, and it's my father's daily driver now. It's an 85 C30, and it's his daily commuter, and we're gonna use it to travel almost 2.5 hours to pick up my Suburban. So much happened yesterday that we didn't record. The trailer has a bad wheel bearing. So luckily, the same friend that picked us up, thanks Al, yesterday, let us borrow his trailer to pick up the Suburban, being that it weighs more, and this trailer is more heavy duty too, so it's a plus, and it has a good winch, which is going to come helpful today. The 12,000 pound winch he got is going on here. So for yesterday, did not go as planned, so let's do some bench racing. So we're riding up here. The car went 2 1059s yesterday. You only saw one video. We didn't get time to record a second one, with the chaos of the day. In that first pass, we got onto the line, lost the oil pressure. The oil pump shaft, I know I said oil pump push rod, but that's not what I meant. It just, scatterbrain, right? The first pass we went up to do, again, we lost oil pressure right away. Since I have the 3-step working, I really don't even worry about the RPM. I go by the sound of the motor really, and I just stare at the oil pressure. So as I was coming off the burnout, I just watched the oil pressure plummet. So I quickly shut the motor off. So I'm very confident there was no damage there. You know, well, I pulled the filter and cut it just in case, but you know, we made 2 passes after that, and although the mile an hour is not where I want it to be, I don't think it's because of, you know, bearing or anything like that. So the 2 passes I made, the car was consistent. Let's start there. It was 2 1059s. I don't have I left the receipts on the car, in the car. I went 2 1059s. The first pass I went 001 red, so 1 thou from perfect red. And the second pass I went 3 thou on the green, so 003. That's 3 thou from perfect, and I already got a perfect light with the car last time out, so I'm getting a hang on, you know, cutting the lights with the car, which is great. If I ever want to bracket race the car, I mean, at least that could be an option. Right now, you know, we're leaning towards converter and I think jet, between a combination of the two. What do you think?
More converter, but we're going to put the jets. But before the season is over, then this car will be in the 9s, guaranteed.
Yeah, I agree. I think the carb was already a little rich to begin with. Definitely on the rich side. I think the cam having a lot more overlap is pulling harder on the carburetor. It is a small carb to begin with. So, in general, rule of thumb, right? The smaller the carb, the harder it pulls on the jet. So I'm thinking that one, it was definitely jet a little bit fat to begin with, just by judging by the plugs. But I think with this cam having more overlap, it's pulling even harder and running even more richer, especially towards the top. Now, we did a stall check yesterday. I didn't do it at all until pretty much we got back. And I did it as I was loading the car back into the garage. And before, I could only get about 5,200 stall out of the car. And now with the new cam and the tire load separation, I could get 5,500 stall out of the same converter. So there's a torque increase. Whenever you can get more stall, that's more torque. More torque should mean more power. I did leave softer. I left both passes at 4,000 RPM. Maybe I need to step up the launch RPM. But it could. I lean towards the converter being way too tight, mainly because of my 60 footer. The best 60 footer I ever had with the car was 145 or so, and it was like it was a 1 pass. The pass that day, everything was not going right as well, and it did cut a really good 60 footer, and the numbers looked promising, and I backed out of it. It still went like a 1080. Excuse me. But it's never done that again. Ever since that day, it's only honestly 60 footed a little slower. and like 1.5 60 footers for as quick as the car is definitely slow. The 60 footer should be bottom 1.4s, high 1.3s. I think, you know, it should be well like 1.38, no problem, especially at 129. Where it went last time, it should definitely be able to 60 foot that hard, you know. So you got some things to think about. You know, we're about to discuss some more on our long ride. We're gonna end that one here. Thank you for watching Bro Joe Builds. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the bell.